This FireAid money is not helping the people. It's helping nonprofits.
You may remember FireAid, a high-profile benefit concert intended to help those affected by the LA wildfires. The star-studded night featured major LA celebrities from Billie Eilish, Lady Gaga, Rod Stewart, Stevie Wonder, and more. Ultimately, the 6-hour concert raised $100 million. But now there are questions over where all that money has gone. And a congressman from California is requesting the Department of Justice to open an investigation. FireAid is responding after some of its decisions on where to give the money is facing scrutiny. 75 of the $100 million has already been dispersed in 2 rounds of grants. FireAid says the money was never intended to go to impacted individuals directly. Instead, it's being funneled through more than 100 nonprofits, which were then directed to use the money to help wildfire victims. Local news outlets Fox 11 in Los Angeles and Circling the News are now shining a spotlight on some of the nonprofits who received FireAid cash.
If you want a good laugh, I mean, one of the nonprofits cleans preschool bathrooms. Well, after the fire, who knows? Maybe there is a preschool bathroom that needs cleaning.
Yeah. In other words, a lot of these nonprofits are ancillary, if you will.
We'll highlight some of the nonprofits that have come under media scrutiny. However, it's important to note here there is no proof of misuse of funds, but questions have been raised about FireAid's grant distributions and their intended purpose. The California Native Vote Project is one. It aims to achieve equity for Native American peoples and increase political participation by helping to register voters. FireAid says its undisclosed share of the money is meant to help Native families displaced by fires. According to census data, the Pacific Palisades has 16 Native American residents. 3 communications groups also split $700,000 for critical information for fire victims. It's unclear how much money each group received from the pot. According to FireAid, the podcast Altadena Talks Foundation was one that received money for fire-related podcast hosted by Tony Raines. Its YouTube channel shows it was created February 7th, after the wildfires happened. Its most watched video on YouTube has 31 views as of this recording, and its most recent live stream had 25 views. The host, Tony Raines, was on an international vacation during its last episode.
Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. That's a tribute to Tony not being here on her day.
Hey, she's still enjoying her vacation, and she should be on her way back. Probably rested up, recuperating from all that dang fun she had out there. Man, just traveling, Croatia.
I know. Those
Greece.
videos were dope.
According to FireAid's website, musicians and artists received $3.3 million in grants. 2 music nonprofits were to give mental health services for musicians and support industry professionals with housing and basic living costs. According to FireAid, the Pasadena NAACP also received an undisclosed amount of funds for creating spaces where people can unite and share resources. And After the Fire, a nonprofit based out of Sonoma, hundreds of miles away from Los Angeles, was granted an undisclosed amount of funds to support communities by matching prior fire survivors with current fire survivors to share advice and lessons learned. These are just a few of the groups recently spotlighted by local news outlets as they tried tracking the money and how it was spent. Investigative journalist Sue Pasco says the list and questions go on.
And one of them said, we help mobile home parks. And there were 2 mobile home parks in the Palisades, all low income. And so I contacted the people there. They had never received any money.
In response to the flurry of funding questions, FireAid media spokesperson Chris Wallace said, as a newly formed nonprofit, FireAid does not have the capability to make direct payments to individuals, and that was never the plan. We partner directly with trusted local nonprofits. Each dollar was intended for the community, and a stipulation of the funds was that not a single dollar was spent on administrative costs. Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley wants to look deeper to see if how the money was intended to be spent was actually followed through by the more than 120 nonprofits. And he's now wanting the Department of Justice to step in and lead the investigation. Kiley wrote, "Americans' generosity should not be the second victim of this tragedy. I'm asking that the DOJ take urgent action to maintain and restore confidence that donor intent is respected and that the intended recipients of these funds are made whole. An investigation is needed to discover where these donations went and who benefited." If Attorney General Pam Bondi investigates the benefit concert's finances, they could look into donor records, grant agreements, and messages between the people who put on the show to see if the money was used the way donors intended or if any charity fraud statutes were broken. The latest round of money, which will include $25 million, will be awarded by year's end. We'll continue to follow this story closely, and you can too by downloading the Straight Arrow News mobile app today.